guys, welcome back to We Watch a Movie. Mike here, and as everybody knows, there are certain rules one must abide by to survive a scary movie. There are also certain rules that one must abide by to make a fifth movie in a franchise. There's a formula to it, a very simple formula. If they'd watch Halloween 5, they'd save time. It's very easy to fuck up a fifth movie in a franchise. It's very easy to fuck up a requel. Do I think they're gonna fuck up either of these with Scream? No. But I'm gonna give you guys my rules for what I think they need to do to make a successful movie. Now, do I think it's gonna be successful already? Yes. If you watch the last video, you'll see that everybody says it's amazing and that sounds awesome. Is it a guarantee it's gonna be? Hey, if you want me to take a shit in a box and mark it guaranteed, I will. I've got spare time. But for your sake, for your daughter's sake, why don't we just wait until we see the movie to be for sure? But I'm pretty goddamn sure that it's gonna be great. One thing I wanna mention before we get started, you guys, 9 p.m. tonight, we are celebrating 10 years on YouTube. Some of you might think that's sad. I think it's a battle of attrition. We're quite damn proud of it, and we've had a goddamn blast doing it with you guys. So tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, we are celebrating live. The day is actually tomorrow, so we're counting down all the way to midnight. We're just gonna hang, party, answer your questions, talk about whatever you guys want to talk about, and then at 12 o'clock, I'm gonna open a fucking bottle of champagne. We're gonna pop that son of a bitch, and we're gonna celebrate ringing in the 10-year anniversary of Wham at midnight tonight. So I hope you guys are there. Let's start the video. Now, they may not follow all these rules, and the movie still could be great, but as I sit here in front of you, a boy standing in front of another girl, just a couple of women hanging out in a treehouse. This is what I'd like to see in it, at least. Okay, so number one, the soundtrack and the needle drops. And I'm not just talking about the score. They released the score on Spotify recently, and I'm sure it's going to be wonderful. Weird that it's not done by Marcos Beltrami. It's done by Brian Tyler now. I haven't listened to it yet in its entirety, but I'm sure that'll be great. The score's very important, but even more important to me in this house is the Scream soundtracks. Now, Scream is probably the most listened to soundtrack of my entire life. From the original Scream soundtrack, Bird Brain's Youth of America, where they're listening to it, driving to the party on the way to Stu's house. I still blare that song when I go to parties, feeling like I'm going to Stu's house, only on a lower level because I've got kids in the car probably. The truth is I'm probably just listening to the Frozen soundtrack again and singing Youth of America in my own brain. But apart from that, in my mind, I'm still a child. Whoa, this could be your lucky day in hell. There's always that song in the Scream 2 soundtrack that I put on in the car with people when they're uncomfortable, just to make them more uncomfortable. It's the one that starts out on the Scream 2 soundtrack. It's like, Mama grabbed onto the milkman's hand, and then she finally gave birth. I love the Scream 2 soundtrack, maybe the best. Even had Master P on there. That Scream, holla if you hear me. Even going to Scream 3, they've got the Creed on there with the What If. And they're not just good as soundtracks to listen to, but they really set the tone of the movie as it goes. Like, Wes Craven did this thing after a dark scene, or after any scene really, the switch to the next scene was so cool because it would like pan over Woodsboro, and either you'd have that doom, doo-doo, that Scream Marcos Beltrami score over top of it, or you would have needle drops. Like the Everclear song, Fuel. There's so many amazing needle drops, specifically in Scream 2. The camera pans out of a new scene, sky over Woodsboro, pans down over to the new scene, and the new song's playing. And it just adds this whole feel to the movie, especially when you come out of a kill and into another scene. It can totally set the tone, and Scream's tones are all over the place. I'm doing it with my hands again. Do you like what you see? One thing that scares me about this is I haven't heard dick all about a motion picture soundtrack to this. Now, the movie can be great without it, I'm sure, but for me, it's one of my biggest hopes and dreams in my crack. I really, really want a great movie soundtrack to this, and I hope they're good songs. I know I'm an old man, but I just hope that at the very least they're strange. Like, Scream songs are strange and different, and they're not always good, but you end up loving them anyway. I hope we get that. The number 2 rule for Scream 2022, if it wants to be Sharon Stone, it's gonna have to have an opening that sets the tone. The opening of this movie cannot fuck it up. I feel like if you look at the movies as they go, Scream 4 is the only opening I didn't actually like, to be fair. I thought that was too much, and I thought it ended on a whimper. It was more of a pooh, You know, like a lady fart. Pew. I think for this movie to be successful, if they really want to make it scary, which is what we've heard, they're trying to make it scary but also funny, and apparently that's working for a lot of people, you're going to have a great opening. It doesn't need to be a Drew Barrymore. It doesn't need to be a surprise kill. I just think it has to be brutal, and it has to be scary. The person doesn't even have to die. You know what I mean? But it just has to be fucking scary, and it has to set the tone for the entire movie. I think it's going to be hard to do it where they don't die, but it's possible. Ghostface is going to have to fuck somebody up. You know what I mean? Like, I'm about to fuck up some corn dogs in a few minutes. Those little mini ones, I'm hungry as shit. I'm going to dip them in ketchup. Anyways, what I'm trying to tell you guys is that the opening has to set the tone for the entire movie, and if you don't have a scary, probably violent opening to the movie that's going to set people back or grab their fucking attention and let them know, hey, this Scream movie's not fucking around, Jim. That's what the first Scream film did so well, is it opened up with an ultra violent, ultra scary opening, and then it went right into the jokes, and you were just like, what world am I in? This is amazing. Speaking of violence, the number 3 rule for the movie is it has to be extremely violent to be scary. Now, I know that somebody say, a movie doesn't have to be violent to be scary. I've seen Hereditary. Look, I know that most movies don't, but a 5th movie in a Scream franchise, one that's coming off of 2 sequels, kind of good, depending on how you feel about it. I like them both. I think that this movie, and 4 had some violence in it, but I think this movie has to be, at this point, extremely violent to be scary, because we've all seen Ghostface so many times. We've seen there's Ghostface jokes, there's Ghostface's face. Ghostface's face ain't new to you anymore. The face alone's not gonna fucking scare you. You know, kind of like Scream 3. Was anybody scared at any point by Scream 3? No, and it wasn't violent either. The reason Scream has to be violent to be scary at this point in the franchise is because it's also a movie that has to be comedic. And for the comedy to work, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but for the comedy to work, the violence has to be legit. Jamie Lee didn't show her tits till she went legits. Trading Places 83. Probably couldn't afford a good pair. What'd you say? It has to set the tone. So if you have a non-violent movie with just kind of PG-ish kills, and then you try to joke on top of it, no one's ever going to be fucking scared. For the comedy to work, the violence has to work. For the violence to work, it has to be fucking violence. You know what I mean? I feel like that makes sense, right? You get what I'm saying. Number 4, the meta angle has to be fresh. This is something the sequels have all had a hard time doing. The meta angle in the original Scream was genius. It was fucking just fucking beautiful. Chef's kiss. In 2, it was cool how they tied in the school and the film school. They had the conversations about the sequels, and just that reminiscing about it was enough. You know, just having the movie geeks and talking movies and all those references to other movies was enough for Scream 2, I feel like. Scream 3, you get the tape of Randy and he's talking, and it's like, hey. They went too meta with the stab stuff, and they went so meta. There were the actresses on the set, and people were. I just feel like they lost it. They lost it with Scream. Scream 4, the whole wearing cameras on your face and stuff, like, didn't really do it for me. I'm getting too deep into the sequels. I liked the sequels for what they were. I'm not trying to shit on them, but for me, the meta angle in this one has to be fresh. And I'm not even gonna get into what the meta angle is. I've heard, but I don't want to spoil any little tiny bit of anything for anybody else. But I've heard what the meta angle is gonna be for this, and it sounds like it's gonna be fresh, and it sounds fucking genius, and I love it. But that is a rule for these movies. I feel like the meta angle has to work for a Scream film to be truly successful, and I think Scream fans will get exactly what I'm talking about, where I'm coming from. There was a time where some people were saying that Kevin Williamson said this movie wasn't meta at all, and there was an article that came out and they said it was going to be super meta. So it's sort of confusing at one point in there, but it is going to be meta. We do know that for a fact now. We saw the video of Stewie. Saw the video of Dewey sitting down with the kids with the stab movies on the table. Jack's character has said that Jack Quaid, fucking badass name, dude, said that his character did not know much about horror movies. So in the movie, he has to get like an education, which is, I feel like, what we saw going on in that scene. But we do know the movie's going to be meta, and I do know that the angle's going to be fresh. So we can probably check that one right the fuck off. But that's a necessary one to mention. Anyways, everyone's a suspect. Told you I'd do that in every goddamn video. Number 5. This is going to be the hardest one, I think, to accomplish for this movie. I just don't know how they're going to do it. The legacy cast has to be handled respectfully, and the new cast has to be interesting. This is a terrible reference, but you guys remember Expendables 3? Probably not. Not many people do. But the problem with that movie is that they try to, let's force, like, Kellen Lutz, I think that was the dude, like, in this new cast to take over for the Expendables. It's like, you guys are talking about 40 years of action heroes that we're here to see as, like, a nostalgia act, pretty much. And, like, you're trying to force Kellen fucking Lutz on us? The guy that died in the opening of the Nightmare on Elm Street remake? I think that's the same guy. But, like, it's like, don't, stop. Now, I know this movie is putting it's a passing of the torch. Okay, and I understand that. But the difference is these new characters have to be interesting. They have to be good. They have to be likable. By all accounts, they are. Everybody says they're great. They're never going to be, it's never going to be this exact same with Matthew Lillard and Skeet Ulrich and Nev Campbell and everybody like it was in the first. So you can't have those kind of expectations. It's got to be new and different. New, yellow, different. And I'm sure that they will be, but that has to be something. If the new cast is annoying or unlikable, it's going to be disappointing because you're like, oh, that's great. What's the fucking future? It's a big old frozen chunk of poopy. And also the legacy cast has to be handled with respect. A lot of people are like, oh, I want Nev to be the killer, or I want Nev to die. And it's an impossible question. It's like, okay, if Nev's the killer or Nev dies, either way, where does that leave you? It leaves you going, the last 4 movies were fucking pointless. She survived all that just to be killed by Ghostface or become Ghostface herself? What do we fucking do? You know what I mean? I have no idea how they're going to do that. Same thing with Dewey and some of the other ones. Like, I don't want them to be the killer because it's like, it renders their characters pointless in the other movies. You know what I mean? Like, it's like we did all this for nothing. We grew with these characters and their arcs for nothing. And I'm not saying they can't do it and make it work. I'm just saying if they do, they're a better writer than I am. Which, let's be honest, they are anyways. I'm just sitting here spouting off my fucking lips and they're writing Scream films. So yeah, we've established that. But my point is that they have to do it right. It's a tricky tightrope to walk. How are you going to handle this old cast? What are you going to do with the characters? How are you going to handle the new cast? That is just fucking tricky territory. And you can really fuck it up. And finally, my last rule is another thing that's going to be so easy to fuck up. And guys, I just want to say one more time, I have confidence that they're going to get all this shit right. And I have confidence if they don't, they're going to do it from an angle I didn't think of, and I'm going to go, I'm a fucking idiot who makes YouTube videos. And I am. My point is that this is just what I'd be looking at going into making a Scream movie. You know what I mean? And the last thing is, do not ruin a good movie with a bad twist. So easy. M. Night Shyamalan knows about this. When you have a movie that is a mystery and you have to reveal the killer, or you have a movie that has to have a twist, or has to subvert expectations, or surprise people. What am I fucking? Hey, you want to come inside for a croissant? The killer has to be someone interesting. It can't be some brand new character out of nowhere. That was, I think, one of the biggest problems with Scream 3. Once again, Roman's like, you're Roman, okay, I guess. Like, I don't want some character coming out of the woodwork like, hey, I was so-and-so's cousin, and I'm pissed at all y'all. Now, y'all get over here and take what's coming to you, okay? I don't want just some fucking rando that we don't know. I also don't want it to be the original cast. I have no idea how I would write this movie, and that's why it's such an interesting movie to me. I can't wait to see how they do it. But the problem is if you have this great movie that's witty and fucking, it's the perfect Scream movie. This is great, man. This is fucking great. Like that kid driving the RV and Jason Lives. Like, this is great. This is just great. And then, like, fucking Jason pops up at the end with a shitty poo twist. And, like, I just, if the twist sucks, it's going to put a big old duty diaper on the whole movie. And that is one way to ruin it. So I hope that the twist or the killer reveal is really, really well done. It has to be for the movie to truly be successful. And you know what? I think it fucking will be. Because once again, I'm a man of faith. I just want to know, what are your all's rules down below for surviving? What did I forget? Fucking tell me. Hit me over the head with it. Get it up! Love your fucking faces, guys. We will see you guys tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern to fucking party.
Hey guys, this is Mark Wahlberg, and I just wanted to take a second to talk to you about We Watched a Movie. They got a really good Patreon going on over there. They'll do videos for you based on any of their characters. They'll do commentaries for you. They'll do movie reviews for you. They got behind-the-scenes videos. You got 20% 20% off of all their merch. They'll even make you your own video store card like Blockbuster back in the day. They got commentaries just sitting there waiting to be fucked by your movie ears. I'll put the link below. We gotta outrun the wind.